Rhett Palmer. The mayor of the airwaves is ready to go. Talking to people you want to know. Face to face, one-on-one. Get the story and have some fun with Rhett Palmer.
And now, the most trusted name in radio, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves. Yes, it is I. How are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? The mayor of the airwaves. Another beautiful day in paradise. And we have Beverly Osler in the studio. Good morning, Beverly.
Good morning, and coffee's ready.
Coffee is ready. Thank you very much. Keep calm and carry on is what my cup says. My nephew James is on the line. He's in the computer industry. He's up in Connecticut. James, how's the weather in Connecticut this morning?
It's looking real good out there, Uncle Rhett. Good morning.
What's the temperature?
I don't know.
Well, give me a guess. Come on.
I said it's looking real good, not feeling.
Well,
give me a sec.
It is feeling good here because finally the humidity has broke. This is the day. Somebody mark, what's today's date?
Today is 13th.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, no, I think it's 12th. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Usually between the 10th and the 18th, the humidity breaks, and it's gone for a good 8 months. And today looks like it may be the day. Is it just because it's a little cloudy? There's a nice autumnal wind blowing in. And, okay, so now on the line, James?
Yes.
You're still looking for the temperature, James?
I did. I found the temperature, 55 degrees.
Oh, that's nice. Nice and sure.
Yeah.
Now, the young lady that's on the other line, her name is?
Renee Gallen.
Renee?
Hi, Renee. Where are you calling in from, Renee?
I'm actually over in Tampa.
Oh, so you're a neighbor here in Florida.
I am.
Yeah. Has the humidity broke over there this morning as it has here on the other side? We're directly opposite you, you know.
Right. Yeah, a little bit. It's
right.
Definitely not 54. It's a balmy 80 here.
Well, okay. Now you go under two different names, Lynn Johansson and Renee Gallen. Why the two different names? Why have you been hiding under a fake name when it comes to the public?
So back in 2011, I was in a temporary crisis and ended up basically losing faith in myself, feeling that I was not going to be able to raise my son I was pregnant with. And I reached out to an adoption agency and ended up relinquishing my son, surrendering my son, and ended up having to find some support somewhere. And I ended up doing that online and found a wonderful online community that really helped me through the initial stages of that process and being separated from him. So I started with that initially to get and have my own private space, really.
Now, let me ask you this. See, I thought you were going to... You sound very... let's just put it this way. You have wisdom beyond your years. If you don't mind, for this show, how old are you?
I am 50.
50. Okay, so
I am 50.
So you were pregnant in your 40s.
I was. I'm very lucky. I am fertile.
You what? What did you say?
I am fertile.
That's wonderful. Wow. I mean, that's really cool because, wow, that's just terrific. But this is is this the first time you've had a child in the entirety of your life?
This was my second. My son was my second. Okay. And I've since actually had another. I have a 3.5-year-old as well now. So
wait, what? 3.5? Wait a second. Wait a second. What are you ingesting, young lady?
Well, I don't know. But I did career first, which is what's happening today in a lot of women's lives, getting themselves settled and getting themselves, set up.
Okay. What is your career?
I am also in the IT industry. I'm a senior IT business analyst.
Okay, and IT means?
Information technology.
Okay, but that's such a wide brush. Give us a hint of what you do specifically.
My background specifically is implementing financial applications and or any other global applications for global companies.
Like you mean like PayPal or people paying online, or is that what you mean?
I'm talking like banking, so Citibank, some other global companies that do. I'm actually working for one of the big 4 auditing firms right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, because the only reason you might say, why am I asking you these things? Because the more people know about you, more they can connect. There are other women out there, I can relate to her, or blah, blah, blah. Now, are you married?
I am married now. I married my son's father.
You married your son's father, and this is the son you gave up for adoption, or is this the newest
Correct.
baby? Okay.
Yes,
Now,
the newest baby as well.
Let's clarify this. Now, your first child's name is?
My first child's name is Alexis.
Oh, hold on. Alexis, and that's a female?
Yes.
And how old is she?
She's 14 now.
14. Now, your second child was named, is a boy?
It's a boy. I'm not going to give his name just because of the whole deal. So he's now 6.5.
Okay, 6.5. Now you have him. He's back in your possession, right?
No.
Oh, he's not. Okay, and then the third child is the boy you have now.
It's a little girl, actually.
A little girl, 3.5.
Yes. Giovanna is her name.
Giovanna. Oh, wow. Giovanna. Because the man that's in here, he owns Joseph's Cookie Company, which makes 12 million cookies a day. They were just on with that political thing. They're back in the green room discussing things now, but he has a little baby named Giovanna, too. Okay.
Great.
So, okay. Now, so the boy you do not have in your possession.
I do not.
So what was there an emotional crisis in your life? What was going on?
Yeah, I call my story, I'm a little bit unique because I am an older first mom. I am not, your 19-year-old first-time mom. But I had a business that went bad in 2008, 2009. I had a private insurance policy doing some IT contract work with a very high deductible. I realized halfway through my pregnancy that they had stopped paying my maternity and my prenatal claims for my visits to my doctor, and that they were not going to pay for my C-section that I was going to need.
Why? Why weren't they going to do this?
Because my policy at the time did not have maternity coverage. So, and this was pre-Affordable Care Act.
Pre-Obama, yeah.
It sure was. So, everybody bashes the Affordable Care Act, but I have quite a compelling story that I wasn't able to get insurance with being pregnant, and things would probably be different right now for me.
It's too bad we're so polarized in America because I was a member of Students for Democratic Society when I was a boy, protesting on the campus of Vassar College. I protested in Washington, and and then the other, an extreme liberal guy, and now tear down the establishment and all that stuff. And now I'm more of a conservative Republican. But I'm damn happy for me, for my family, for my friends that there's a thing called Social Security, which was initiated by a Democrat named FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and I'm very thankful for it. So, and it makes me, when I hear stories like yours, it makes me go, hey, we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater, literally in this case.
That's exactly.
Yeah. So why can't we have maternity in Washington? Because they're so corrupted from money and power. And I actually think it's more power than it is money. They get in there. I've been up there. I've spent some time, and I've met multiple presidents past presidents of the United States. I've not met Trump, but anyway, these people are really drunk on power. Why can't they all just sit down together and do something for the good of the people? They're afraid someone else is going to get the credit. Wasn't it Ronald Reagan who said it's amazing what we can get accomplished when no one cares who gets the credit?
Exactly.
Gee, for calling. Anyway, so I want to hear your story.
I'll tell you a little bit more. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more about that.
Yes.
So this entire, process got through. I ended up learning about a lot of truths after all of this happened, and truth in adoption being the trauma that not only I suffered. Obviously, I'm living that and still am to this day. But my kept children are dealing with that. My husband is dealing with that. My son is dealing with that. And none of that was ever mentioned. None of that is ever disclosed to a mother who is considering adoption. And, the other pieces of that puzzle that go together, adoptees, especially in Florida, actually cannot get their original birth certificate. So when an adoption happens, my name is taken off of his birth certificate, and they wouldn't actually let me put his father's name on the birth certificate, which is also very common.
Yeah.
They just keep that off of there. So then I'm literally erased. And not only that, but he cannot, my son, even as an adult, go and get his original birth certificate without going and petitioning the court and asking them for his...
Who the hell is the court to keep the truth from an American citizen that is born with rights? What is going on? Where does this all stem from? Well, it's probably from the same devil that's rearing his head around the world right now, but go ahead.
You got it. It's exactly it. The lies and the secrecy and the deceit that happens is really what the adoption industry today, what I have experienced, is how it thrives.
Okay, listen. You've got to understand, me and the people listening to this broadcast are not in the middle of this storm that you two find yourself in, and want to rectify. So what kind of money are we talking about? So I decide that I'm going to get involved in the adoption business. Now, I was told a small Caucasian child goes for $45,000. Who gets this $45,000?
Usually the agencies and or attorneys.
Okay, the agencies and the attorneys. Well, then we know the attorneys are making the lion's share, of course, because they always do.
Exactly.
Okay, so right. $45,000. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of money, but actually $45,000 is not that much money, is it? I mean, because you've got administrative costs, you've got to pay secretaries, and you've got to pay rent. I don't know but of course, then if you think about it, every 20 adoptions, you got $1 million, right?
Exactly. And, really court fees and things like that are not necessarily where the majority of the money is. We're talking about a lot of these agencies spin up and they claim nonprofit. So, if they're a private agency, you don't have access to their tax forms, but if they are a nonprofit, their 990s are out there and you can see that they're pulling in their high-level directors and owners in the actual agency are pulling in some pretty healthy salaries. So when you're talking about, doing nonprofit business, what I ended up starting up is talking to mothers online, getting a way to speak with them.
Now, I do want to say this on behalf. Remember, there's always two sides to every story, and then there's the truth. Now, people got upset when they found out that the CEO of the American Red Cross was pulling in $500,000 or $600,000 a year. Frankly, for a quality person, $600,000 as a CEO is not that much money. Now, if you lower that, then you're not going to attract the best. It's what's wrong with our school systems now. Anybody that has the intellect to really go forward goes, gosh, I'd really like to teach, but I'm not willing to live on $40,000 a year. So they go off and do something else, and then we have maybe either a person who's very altruistic, which is often the case, because make no mistake, if there's any teachers listening and parents listening and kids, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the Airways, loves teachers. But if we want to attract the creme de la creme, right? So the point is, so these agencies aren't all evil, because they came about because somebody wanted to, maybe thought they were too young, or didn't have the money, or just did not want to be a parent and got pregnant. And I have to salute them that they chose to let their child be put up for adoption rather than kill the child, because it's very fashionable in our world today to use abortion as a sexual thing.
But yeah,
Beverly, are you with us?
In reality,
what am I looking for here? Somebody, are you listening to me, Beverly?
In reality,
I'm trying to...
What do they use? What do they use abortion for? You have sex, you get pregnant, you get aborted. So they're using abortion as a what? Contraceptive?
Yes.
Okay, essentially. All right. Okay. I think there's better wording, but apparently I can't think of it, and nobody around me can think about it. Okay, so go ahead. Continue talking, please.
So on that topic, usually what's happening is if a mother ends up getting to the point of, thinking of adoption and going that route, she's never considered abortion. Usually abortion is something that's decided as, really, as she said, contraception or reproductive choice, which is at the beginning of the pregnancy. Mm-hmm. And there are very, very few places today that do late-term abortions, and which I don't agree with, but that's apples and oranges. So we don't want to mix adoption is not the alternative to abortion. Adoption is a parenting decision, and really any decision needs to be made with full disclosure.
Well, now you're saying adoption is not an alternative to abortion. Now, now for me, I don't know if I agree, because I don't believe in abortion, period. Nada. Except in situations, of course, I guess, where in modern medicine, I don't know how the good Lord above would feel, but if a lady's life is being threatened. The thing is, it's also nebulous. I mean, I have a friend of mine. I met Tim Tebow's mom. Do you know that Tim Tebow's mom, they were missionaries trying to help people in Africa, and they were told by doctors to abort their child, that they were going to have problems. They considered it and decided not to, and of course we know the story of Tim Tebow. Well, I have another friend in town here, and that means that over 50 potential Heisman Trophy winners have been aborted in the past few years. They said, statistically. Anyway, so I have a friend in town here, and they own Champion Home Healthcare, and they were told when they were younger to abort their son Tom, and they were going to. And then they decided at the last minute, they prayed about it and said, no, we're going to go ahead and take our chances. Well, they did. Well, he graduated from St. Ed's, a highly esteemed private school here, as the valedictorian. Now works at Piper. Okay? So they wanted to abort him. So, anyway, you get my point, right?
I do.
Okay.
Everybody has a choice. And having full disclosure to make that informed decision is really key.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's not what's happening in adoption, especially domestic infant adoption today.
Okay, so what is happening and what do you want to happen?
What I would like to happen, what I would have liked to have known prior to making this decision and going down this path is really full disclosure. So I would like to have known about the trauma that all of my children are going to suffer. I would have liked to know the lifelong grief, the potential PTSD.
Well, lifelong. You said lifelong grieve.
But lifelong grief.
Yeah,
losing a child is lifelong. So I don't know if any of you have lost a child or know anyone who's lost a child, but it's lifelong, right? It's life changing.
Oh, yes.
So you lose a child, it's life changing. The issue with this choice and with adoption is that it's really disenfranchised grief. So I don't get to go to a grave and grieve. I don't get to have somebody say, I'm really sorry for your loss. I don't get someone to really understand that I truly lost a child.
So they pigeonhole you saying that you were a selfless or a selfish individual who just didn't want the responsibility of shouldering a child, right?
I have been told that. Yes, I have heard that, and I've also been told the other side of the coin. So basically, went from saint to sinner as soon as I realized what had happened, and as soon as I started talking about all of the things that weren't disclosed to me.
By the way, you just did something which makes you sound much better. There was this noise behind you continually that sounded like wind blowing or like you were outside, and now I can hear you intimately and it's a much greater appearance on the radio. So whatever you did, stay what you're doing now. I wanted to bring that up because I don't want you to go back to whatever that was. What did you do?
I have no idea.
Did you move the microphone closer to your face or something? Maybe it was coming from James's end. Maybe he changed something. I don't know.
Yes, I did.
Okay, what did you change, James?
I shut my air conditioner off. I didn't realize it was transmitting. Oh,
it sure was. It was, and that gets in the way of the intimacy of the whole. But now that's how we learn these things,
Okay.
Cool.
Lesson learned.
Okay, yeah. So, anyway, we all know you're not a frigid guy. Stupid joke, I know. So, they're telling me that I have to take a commercial break. So anyway, we're getting to know each other slowly. We've got a whole nother hour to get into this today and talk about this. And so I welcome you to the show. I'm glad you're here with us, okay? And we're going to take a break. Is that all right with you guys?